Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Bono and the Edge, a sort of homecoming with Dave Letterman. This is a documentary special from Dave's kind of series. He does a series of interviews with different celebrities and notable figures over the years, just little one-offs, not a regular, necessarily a series, I don't think, but it's kind of a one-off kind of thing that he's done here and there. But this is also more of a U2 project at the same time. I'm not really sure who's taking the lead on this, but they're both producers on this little project. I mean, Dave hasn't done Late Show with David Letterman in many years, but at the Ed Sullivan Theater. But so he's grown a beard. He's retired of sorts, and just kind of does what he wants, and he can do that. And U2, of course, they have not been touring for quite a while, especially since the pandemic, and nobody's seen them out on the road or anything else in many, many years. They're due to return at a residency in Las Vegas at the MSG Sphere in sometime later this year, which is like 12, 16 shows, something like that. It's supposed to be huge. They're making a boatload of money being the premier residency at that thing. But this is kind of a little bridge. We haven't seen these guys in a long time, and in fact, we don't even see most of U2. We only see Bono and the Edge. Larry is recovering from surgery. He's going to be going into surgery. He's hurt himself, and Adam is doing an independent film kind of thing project. So this is Bono and the Edge talking with David Letterman in Dublin, Ireland. So it's kind of neat. It's an hour and 25 minutes long. It's just released a few hours ago. I started a little late. It's like 2 a.m. now when I'm recording this, and if I seem a little bit out of it and my hair is messed up, I was laying on the couch. I was taking it in without distraction. And then the internet went out. So I just had to wait for it to come back, and now we're back in. So bags under my eyes. We'll get through this. This is a weird confluence of some of my favorite things. Yes, I am a big U2 fan. I'm a big David Letterman fan. If you were going to ask me, what do I want in a TV special documentary? Well, in the 80s, it would feature U2. It would feature David Letterman and probably Star Wars at some point. There is no Star Wars in this. So we got 2 out of 3. That's not bad. So this is kind of it's a documentary, but it's a part travelogue where Dave gets to visit Dublin for the very first time. He walks around the city and takes in some sights without the Edge and Bono involved. He interviews different friends of theirs, people from the community, talks to them a little briefly. It's not like in-depth stuff with everybody, but a lot of it is reflecting upon the relationship with U2, with Bono and the Edge. One of them is, this thing isn't even complete yet, the IMDb, so they don't even bother mentioning the names of everybody in this, and it's really ticking me off because it's a wonderful musician who is the man behind the movie Once, the music behind the movie Once. If you've ever heard of that, he plays a big part in this. I mean, not a big part, but I mean a big part, a considerable part in this. And I didn't recognize him at first, and it was like, when I heard his voice, and I saw the reference to what he had done, I love the album, I love the movie. It's kind of fantastic that he showed up in this, and he performs with U2 throughout this. It's also a concert film, so there's a special little engagement, in a very small kind of roundabout little tiny amphitheater. It used to be a medical operating bay, technically. After that, it was like a school, I think, a theater. It was just a theater in a sense. And we get to see a select few people in Dublin get invited to this show featuring Bono and the Edge and a small orchestra and a bunch of other musicians all joining in and playing some classic and more recent U2 songs all together in a brand new way, some with new lyrics, because this is about them taking the opportunity in this downtime to sort of revisit songs, and some that have aged, not whether it's aged poorly or really well. It's a matter of how they've evolved, how they've changed, how the things that they reflect upon were real things, especially the war in Ireland and everything else that goes on there, where Sunday Bloody Sunday was born out of it. We could hear new words to classic songs, and that's okay. It's a U2 song, and yeah, like, okay, look, I told you I'm a U2 fan. If you don't like U2, that's fine. It's all right. It doesn't matter. There's some people who are vehemently, they hate U2, but I understand they only see the part of U2 that they're able to see. That's okay. It's not like I have any special insight. I just know that I enjoy them for my own reasons. I got to see them for the first time in 1992 when they came to my hometown area in Pennsylvania and played for a week in a stadium to nobody. Just practicing on a stage in 1992 with a brand new Zoo TV sound system and rigging and everything else. And they weren't supposed to do a show, technically. And then they suddenly announced at the last minute that they would do a show. And everybody just raced for their lives to get tickets. I was at work. A friend of mine went and got tickets. And this is before the internet. Before you had to call in. There was no cell phones to do this. It was people phoning in or people running across the parking lot in Hershey, Pennsylvania to get to the box office. And a friend of mine was able to get us 23rd row, dead center seats. Arms reach to the runway that goes out to the satellite stage. I could see everything. And my life was changed in that moment. It's not just because the guys are just so great and wonderful. No, it's truly the music. It's truly how it was all put together. It was a performance, and it's literally life-changing. And I've seen them many times since in much bigger spectacle performances, the 360 and the Claw and all that other stuff. At the Rose Bowl, I've seen them 3 times there, twice in a week. They mean a lot to me. And Dave, I've never gotten to be in his audience, but I've been at the Ed Sullivan Theater many times, and even the late night studios at NBC at Rockefeller Center. And these things to me are just, I used to imitate Dave. His dry wit. I used to watch David Letterman every night of my life, every time it was on. I still have VHS tapes full of his episodes. I met a guy recently who used to play Dave's stand-in on the show. And he goes to my comic book shop. Yeah. He dresses as Dave, and he used to stand in for Dave on the actual show. So Dave Letterman's part of my life. U2 is part of my life. And so this is like a strange convergence. And you get to see them talk about U2. Dave doesn't talk too much about his past, but you can see a genuine smile come on Dave's face. Dave acts as always kind of this dry, cynic kind of guy. Usually has a sarcastic remark for everything. And his delivery, it's all in his delivery. You don't, whether he's being serious or he's being funny, the delivery is the same. And it has to be annoying to him at some point when everybody laughs at everything he says, regardless of whether he's trying to be funny or not, because it's just how he comes across. If you don't laugh, you feel like you might be insulting him. But he mainly talks to Bono and The Edge about their past, how they started. And it's a story a lot of U2 fans have heard a million times before. But this is a version. I've heard a lot of stuff that I had never heard before in this documentary. So it's kind of fascinating. I didn't read every single book. I don't watch every single documentary or behind the scenes thing, even though I am a fan. But I never understood why they were called Bono and The Edge, and why don't Larry and Adam have special names? Turns out they do. And you can find out what they were and why they didn't use them. And it's not something that has to do with the band itself. It has something to do with where they grew up. Everybody got a name, and Adam's name is especially interesting. But you get to see them talk about the music, and yeah, you're going to be like, oh, Bono's just so pretentious about this and art and everything else, and he's an activist. You know what? He's the first to call BS on himself as it is, but he is also pretty much, he admits that a lot of his activism has kind of ticked off the band half the time and gotten himself in trouble with them when it comes to what they represent, coming into stark contrast with certain people he's had to work with in order to make change in this world. It's weird to think that there's a band out there. I mean, there's sure plenty of bands do good. They do charity things here and there. That concert I went to in 1992, the tickets were only $15. It filled up a stadium. Yeah, I saw U2 for $15. But the money all went to charity, like 5 local charities in my area. So it was kind of freaking great. But they've always been doing that kind of thing. It's a band that at least with Bono at the lead has always worked to use the influence they have as a band to make the world better for all sorts of people, not just themselves. And that's pretty great. And that's not the point of the documentary. That's not like, oh, look how great we are and how holy and how, righteous and everything else we are. No, it's not. It really, literally does focus on the music and why they chose to do the things they did. It's and why this is a time for change. And there's a number of performances in this. You're going to see a lot of classic songs performed in that little amphitheater that I told you about. But there's another point where they play music in a local pub, just packed with musicians and just people singing their own songs. And then, of course, they sing All I Want Is You by U2. So you get to hear an entire room just belting that out. And it's goosebumps. It's really fantastic. Again, whether you like U2 or not, you can't deny the power of some of their songs. Maybe you can. I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, it's for me. It's I love dipping my foot back into this world whenever I can, and it's to me, this is the kind of thing that I think I'm going to just end up watching over and over, even if it's just in the background, just to hear it, just to. I hope that I won't have to just watch this. I'm hoping that I will be able to get into the Las Vegas show at some point. Those tickets will sell out fast, but to the rich people and the bots. But yeah, it's got that little. It's really stripped down. It's really small. The music, the performances are really small, and it's something that's not really new for them. They've been doing this for decades, even back in that 1992 show. Back in the early 90s, they may have done it earlier than that, but when they were doing the big, colossal Zoo TV stage show, which is all just flash and blast and all sorts of lights and sounds and everything else, they would always have this satellite stage where they would strip everything down and bring it into a small little space, and suddenly everything was turned. We were all facing each other with them in the center, and we got to experience music on just a smaller, more intimate scale, and it was kind of fantastic. And they do this, they transfer that into this documentary. I hate to call it a documentary because it just doesn't feel like that. Yeah, you learn stuff about them. You learn about some of the mistakes and the choices and the struggles and the influences of the band. And you get to see Dave smile. Genuinely smile. He gets pretty tickled when they write a song for him. It's a brand new song written about David Letterman. And it's a 40-foot man, I think. And yeah, it's that kind of humor that makes this thing possible. That makes it keeps it from getting too much in its getting too serious, too full of itself. So as much of Dave is a fan of the guys and the guys are a fan of Dave's, it's still really neat. They keep it light. They keep it light. There's not too much angst in this, I should say. So if you're a U2 fan, this is obviously something you're going to want to watch. You have to watch. It's not even a question. And if you're not a U2 fan, or maybe you are a David Letterman fan, or maybe you're not a David Letterman fan, but you are a U2 fan, I think you're going to see each of these guys in somewhat of a new light, or be reassured that things haven't necessarily changed. So it's going to be like I said, I recommend this highly. But it's me. If you have no interest in U2, this is not going to do anything for you, probably. But I say give it a shot, because for the people who hate U2, I don't think they fully understand what U2 is. Maybe you can tell me otherwise, but teach their own. Now, the next episode, I already picked the number yesterday, and that number came up to be, and I already knew what it is, because I forgot I was going to do this tonight. It's number 419 on the list, and it is Spider-Man 2017 shorts. So yeah, the shorts. Did I say it the other day when I can't remember if I revealed it or not, but we're watching Spider-Man shorts from the 2017 animated series. Just basically giving you the origin. I checked it. Basically giving the origin of Peter Parker in a different way. So I'll see you back here tomorrow with that Spider-Man 2017 shorts on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.